Cheers.
We have a little bit of Mariah Carey playing, don't we?
Oh,
I
we do
reckon.
for Christmas.
Oh, hang on, we're filming.
Sorry.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our very festive episode of Real Estate Renovators, our Christmas special. Real Estate Renovators is the business advisory show for real estate professionals. Now, before we begin with today's episode, let's talk about 2021. What a wild year. We thought we saw the end of it in 2020, the lockdowns, the restrictions, and everyone was so optimistic and excited for 2021. And then, boom, right?
Dan Andrews.
But despite all of the, trials and tribulations of 2021, our real estate industry has remained strong, which I think is definitely something to cheers.
It is.
And celebrate.
Cheers.
And take a little gulp about, right?
Why not? Any excuse.
Was I the only one that sipped then?
We all followed your lead.
Exactly right. So Christmas is fast approaching, right, guys?
It is, and what a wild year, hey? Like you would have thought this year with lockdowns and all that crazy stuff that it was going to be so negative for real estate, but it's been probably one of the best years I can remember, being 20 odd years in and around this industry, and it's probably one of the strongest years I can remember.
Absolutely.
Is it though? Because look, market price and the property market has increased, no doubt. But I think real estate agents are still suffering. Like they've been closed for so many days in this year, unfortunately, across different states in Australia. I want to move to WA, but they won't let me in. But and stock numbers are down. Prices are up, but stock figures are down. Like it's hard to get a listing when you couldn't see the property, or hard to sell a property without it.
It's actually a miracle that properties are being sold without being able to see it properly.
Thanks to the tech space.
Yeah, right.
I think if anything, lockdowns taught people the importance of their home, right? How critically important it is to have a home, and people are wanting to now buy now. And that fear of missing out has driven the prices up in the market. So whilst it's been difficult for agents to go out and list and sell and do all their opens, the industry within itself has stayed really strong, which I certainly think is still something to celebrate.
Why not? And with Christmas coming up, we've got lots of reasons to celebrate. It's a new year next year. 2022, hopefully not too many lockdowns, and it's going to be everyone looking forward with a bit of fun next year, finally.
I think so. And we've got some fun on set. We've got some cocktails with the champagne flowing. We've got a little bit of snow happening. It's feeling super festive on set, right, Bill?
It is. Now, Rexy, before we move on, we can't leave this intro without us showing us your Wizard of Oz slippers. Can you show us your Wizard of Oz slippers?
If he clicks 3 times, he's going to go home.
Not sure if you can see they're gold plated or something. They're nice for Christmas.
Only Rex across the RB would pull those off and still look good, mate.
What possessed you to buy them? I just want to know what possessed you.
They belong to my girlfriend, but she lets me wear them this time of year.
Girlfriend. Now, without further ado, guys, we bring to you a very exciting episode with a company that are infiltrating the Victorian market. Despite a quite unique name, Coronis Group, infiltrating Victoria. Getting a little bit of PTSD here, right? Coronis, Victoria, infiltration. They're going to be a super successful franchise group,
They're
right?
going to be a great franchise group, I think. And it's not just Victoria. I think they're going Australia-wide at the moment. And they've just appointed the Victorian branch, the Victorian franchise. It's a very unique model, and I thought it would be a good chance for us to talk about this model. They've taken a view similar to banks, that vertical infiltration, I suppose. Integration.
He's had a few.
Chanell's wearing off at me. So, the banks, and suppose Coronis now is taking a view that one customer, they can service them in multiple different ways. Not just listing and selling their real estate or doing their property management. They're also now providing conveyancing services, providing mortgage services to the purchasers.
So one-stop shop, essentially.
A one-stop shop to make the customer experience better.
Who doesn't want a one-stop shop, right?
Yeah, many years ago, I was actually a banker, and I remember being at Westpac, and they used to say that the more products and services a client has with you, the more likely they are to stay loyal. I think it was like 6 products and services, and they wouldn't leave. So not only do you earn bigger share of wallet, it's a technical term, but also you have a more loyal client as well. One thing I loved about the interview with Andrew as well was their model is not only around getting more products and services, earning more money, taking great agents and making them fantastic, but it's also about building a work-life balance, which we know in real estate is really hard to achieve.
That's awesome. And particularly in a post-lockdown environment, that push for work-life balance is going to be huge, right?
It is, yeah. And look, if you're an agent out there, you're thinking to yourself, well, if you're a really successful agent, you're working around the clock, right? If they've found a solution to be able to still make that amount of money, but not have to, you sacrifice family time and all the other things that are really important. And it's a model that people are going to really, really jump to.
And around Christmas time, there's nothing more important than family, right, Bill?
There is. That's fantastic of you, Chanell.
And here we are, our Real Estate Renovators family. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Coronis Group.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, Andrew. It's great to meet you and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, most of our viewers are real estate agents, so they'd know the Coronis business model. Tell us a little bit about how you grew and how the business came about.
Yeah, it's actually a nice story. Well, I think it's a nice story. It's my story. It started in, I finished school in 1988, all those years ago. For most of the listeners, they probably weren't even born then, to be honest. And I joined my dad's, what I call the little hole in the wall real estate office. And it was a typical real estate office. We struggled to make ends meet. I grew up in a nice family and Dad did very well as a real estate agent. But we struggled along till about 1995. And then we sat down as myself, my father, and the now one of my business partners, and we said, look, we're going to have a crack at this and grow from I respectfully saying mediocre little hole in the wall real estate office into something. And we really had a crack at it. So we made a pledge to each other. We would work 7 days a week for 2 years, and I'm really pleased we made that decision, because from there we grew that one office into a reasonable office. We grew a rent roll to back then 500 properties, and we had doing 30 sales a month. We had 6 salespeople, and we had a wonderful culture. In 2002, Dad said to me when I was 32 years old, "Here, do you want to you're doing a really good job, so here's have a crack." So I had ants in my pants of. Real estate's been a really good thing for me, the sales but growing the business really interested me, and the business side of real estate, I suppose, is really where my passion lies. So we grew that one office, and then we started expanding up until 2018, or actually 2020, before COVID, where we had 23 office locations, and we managed 8,000 odd properties. We have a franchise network growing around the country now, and we've really diversified our income too, because I think in a lot of cases, the journey for us has been in real estate agent land is just selling houses and renting houses, but we've really unlocked the potential with mortgages now in our business. We've really unlocked the potential with conveyancing. We've really unlocked the potential with connections and removalists. And we call it, one Coronis, many solutions now, in that it's not just a real estate sales pitch or a rental pitch. There's many other things that are unlocked when we sell a house or manage a house. And as real estate agents, I think sometimes we're a bit narrow-minded, because my vision is for the consumer of the future, they're going to want more to the service of, how can I pick up the keys and move into my house, rather than I just get to go to an open for inspection, I sign a contract, and what do I do now? So I think that's where my vision and the vision of the business is going.
Sounds like you've changed the perception from selling a house to moving a home, and helping them with all the ancillary services. Is that sort of the model and how you thought about it?
Yeah, very much. I got to hand it to a couple of the real estate suppliers, that, especially the big portals that helped me understand customer journey and customer mapping. And if you look at the customers of the future, we're getting compared to things like, in some ways, the technology and the ease of ordering, takeaway food to your house from whatever restaurant there is. And people are looking at us now and going, what do you mean I've got to go to a house? And I've got to look at it. Then I've got to decide. Then I've got to go to a bank. Then I've got to find a conveyance. And this whole, it's not easy to buy a house. There you go. It's tricky. And what we're trying to do with the modern consumer is make it as easy as possible by offering every piece of the property puzzle. Hence, one Coronis, many solutions to get you to home ownership.
Yeah, a lot of agents obviously focus on the vendor. It sounds like you're really focusing on the buyer as well, and helping them on their journey to go into that new home.
Yeah, I think we analysed years ago. Look, the nucleus of, if you go back through the whole life cycle, most people finish school, they go out and rent with some mates. Yeah, they become a tenant first. They really don't know what they're doing there. And as agents, and I don't think we do a good job of helping tenants that much. And then they become, eventually they generally find a partner, and then they buy a house. And they still don't know what they're doing then. And they get frustrated and they get anxious, and all of these emotions come out that make it a really hard time and a frustrating time. So if we can help educate the buyers and the tenants, we believe we're going to help people on their journey, and then they'll respect the business in turn when they go to sell their house.
Yeah, it's so interesting. The business I work for, PropTech Group, it's a software company, and we really think about how can we help the agents build a relationship with the consumer. And it really rings true what you said, from that first time they leave home build that relationship from when they're a tenant, from share house, tenant, to then a buyer, and then upselling and seller and the like as well. So it's really interesting that you talk about that journey, that customer journey, because I think that probably is the future of real estate.
I think it is. Look, and it's if you're a salesperson at the moment, a lot of this will probably be really hard. So how do I fit that into my world? I think it comes down to the agencies and the networks of the future offering these support services. Because if you look back at the Apple model, which I love, and I think it's a great indication of what can be done in business. First you bought an iPod, then you bought an iPad or an iPhone, then you've got an Apple Mac. And the studies, I do a bit of work studying at Harvard, and I remember one of the case studies we did. If you've got, if you do one dealing with a client, there's about a 10 to 15% chance they're going to be a repeat and referral. If you're doing two dealings, meaning is if you manage their property and you sell them a property, it drops to about, there's about 50% chance they're going to come to you to do repeat work. Once you get 3 and 4 products with one person, they don't think of anybody else in real estate, so to speak. And that's what we're trying to create. So we create this ecosystem where people can do what they need to do within our brand.
Yeah, it's funny. It reminds me of a long time ago now, Andrew, when I was a banker at Westpac, and they used to say to us, 8 products and you've got a customer for life. And you give them 8 products and you've got a customer for life, and that's
they do a great job of it, right? I mean, they really do. Yeah.
Yes, some would say they're probably too integrated, but yeah, they do a great job. So it's great to hear how you sort of grew that business. But what made you choose franchise, that model? And can you tell us a little bit about how you went from that first office and implemented that model?
Yeah, so in 2020, before COVID, we had 23 office locations, and they were small real estate offices. They were big in volume, but they not like some of the Melbourne agents where they have much bigger, what we call hubs, or we're calling hubs now. So we rationalised our 23 offices down to 10 locations, which are much bigger, stronger offices, and we can offer our team, because I believe they're our biggest client nearly as our team members. We can offer them more support. We can offer them better leadership. We can offer them better infrastructure to work from and work in. And that was the evolution of our business, to get 10 hubs down the spine of Southeast Queensland. But we have this vision of being Asia Pacific's leading property services provider for all clients at every stage of their property journey. So a way for us to expand around the country, and we have now 35 franchises around the country, is to franchise and take what we know with not just a typical franchise, but offering a model where people can diversify their income, because I think it's important. In good times, it's great selling houses and renting houses at the moment, but we all know times do turn in sales correctly. And having a rent roll and having a mortgage book behind you helps smooth out those years for you. So I think diversifying incomes creates a much stronger, robust business. And that's part of our big push with franchising, is to show people how to diversify their income, show people how to have an exit strategy as well. Because I think most people go into a real estate office, or they have a real estate business. And I know for one myself, you grow it to a certain level, but then you look and you go, how am I going to get out of this thing as well? So you've got to have an exit strategy for yourself. And we have an exit strategy for our franchisees within a 5-year plan, if they wish to do that, and how to cut costs within their business. Because I don't think many real estate agencies have good CFOs to work for them, because they just cost too much money and they don't know how to get the best cost cutting out of their business. We won't be the franchising that will tell you how to sell more houses, and we don't want to be the franchise that's going to take someone who's not turning over $1 million a year already, because we want to work at a more sophisticated level of franchises, and taking someone who's doing, pardon me, somewhere over $1 million a year to $10 million a year, or someone doing $10 million a year to $40 million a year in fee, that is, and really showing them how to create a business rather than just a job as a real estate, a job as a real estate agent running a business.
It sounds like this hub model, in the digital age now, not that many people are looking at the signboards outside a window of a real estate agency, so it makes sense, but it also sounds like you can provide more support. Is that an important part of your model?
Yeah, very much. I mean, we have leaders in offices who are non-selling, and that's a very big point. So their job is to I compare it to, there's a show called Billions, and I don't know if many of the people have seen that, but there's that lady in there, I forget her name now, but she just helps smooth over people when we're dealing with high performance agents and high performance, nearly athletes, is what I call our high performance people, whether they're a broker, whether they're a salesperson, or whether they're a property manager. The best ones in our industry are very high performance, and they devote so they need help in other parts of their life. And that's where we can add real value, because when you've got strong leadership in offices, they can help guide them with their investments, they can help guide them with their fitness, they can help guide them of where they're missing out. Because I really think we've got to work on this this business to offer flexibility where someone can be a high performance agent without devoting every minute of every day to it, because technology has created that industry, right? My father's a real estate agent, and not many people used to call after 6 o'clock at night, right? But now I know from our agents, and I'm sure I'm talking to the people here, you get texts in the middle of the night saying, I want to look at the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you can't turn off because of the technology. But our model is to try and get our lead agents having a balance between this really high performance, so they're earning the income and doing very big volumes, but also having a life outside real estate, which keeps them sane. I learned that from the All Blacks. There's a gentleman there called Gordon Anoka, who's their high performance coach. And that's how they have become one of the best brands in the world, because they manage the player, not just to be a great rugby player, but to be a great person away from the rugby field as well. And I think we've got an industry, we've got to do that with mental health issues rising in our industry. It's our responsibility as leadership in this industry to help our high performance players deliver that.
Yeah, look, hard work is so important in any industry, and especially real estate. But I probably celebrate it a little bit too much. You know, I work harder than you is kind of like a point scoring game in real estate. And you know, no matter who you are, if you're working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you're going to burn out. So it's really great to see that you've got an idea about how you can help agents be more efficient, help their clients, but also not burn out and have a quality of life as well.
Very much. I'm sure it's the same in Melbourne and Sydney and in Brisbane. You know, you'll see agents who do really well for 3 to 4 years and then they just fall off the edge. And I think we owe it to the industry to create a journey where people can do it for 10 to 15 years and have a lifestyle outside of real estate that's just not all consuming. And that, in my opinion, creates teams, and it becomes more teamwork around with their what we're calling EBUs, or their business units, so that they can take holidays, so they don't have to worry about not being there some weekends, so they can go and watch their kids at sport and not have to be on the phone the whole time.
Yeah, and look, a happier agent makes a better client experience, and you know, it benefits everyone, right? So for sure. Now, going on to that model that you're talking about you know, giving you some work-life balance. What do you see? What are the characteristics that you see in a really good agent these days? What do you think are the non-negotiables they need to have?
I think, you know, the one word I use is relentlessness. They have a vision for themselves and for their clients, and they have a vision for what they would like to achieve for themselves, and they know that if they look after their clients, they'll be able to achieve themselves. So, you know, it sounds a bit contrite in some ways, but they're why. You know, they have something, whether it be they want to be the best agent to do the biggest numbers, or whether they have a financial goal, or whether they want financial freedom for themselves. Secondly, I think they're willing to learn and evolve and not think they know everything. Not just about house selling. Can I put house selling over here and being a good agent, how to run a good auction, and just park that bit there, because I think that's a process that if you run that process, you're going to do well. What I think the best agents we see now are evolving in what we're calling growing their business within our business. And I think that's a really important factor. So they're going out and hiring people in their team, and we're structuring them well and supporting them financially as well, to put people around themselves so that they can grow a business within our business and still have cultural alignment with our brand. And that's actually that's what I look for now. Somebody who doesn't want to be just one agent, but see some vision for themselves for the future.
Fantastic. And Andrew, you've got a bit of a unique property management model that you offer your agents. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that works?
Yeah, we've got a couple of property management models. We like innovating. I think it's fun to innovate and have a crack at things. I mean, real estate really hasn't changed that much for the last 30 years, right? I'm not being rude about that. Our industry, and I think it's our job. If I can leave a legacy mark, I've been doing it 30 years. It's been wonderful for me, real estate, and I really respect it. And I'd like to leave it in a better place when I decide to retire from the industry myself. But one of the models that I think we do, I think property management's a thankless task in a lot of cases, and I don't think property managers do get the just reward that they do. So we thought about this whole, how do we empower property managers to have their own part of their value chain as well. So now we have a model where we're calling it Coronis now. Part of our franchise around the country have it, where we support them. We loan them money for the first 13 weeks to get themselves going, and we show them how to prospect. These are property managers, and they generally run properties. To give you an example, we have a lady on the Gold Coast here in Australia. She works for herself from her home. she is now running, there's two models. So we've got our Coronis Now model, which is this lady who works from home, and she's creating her own book and her own rent roll for herself. And there's a commission split between, she gets the lion's share of the commission and we get a percentage as well to help do the back end, which is all the trust accounting and offering the support, offering the technology and the infrastructure that we have for our company-owned 8,000 properties as well, which has been very good. And our company-owned 8,000 properties also have revenue shares within them to different people, because we believe reward is financial reward isn't the most important thing, but it certainly helps someone value themselves to push themselves harder in a service-based industry. So we're bringing some of the elements from a sales-based industry into property management, which is typically in most cases something that just produces income for an agency and the people sit in the corner. We don't treat it that way. We treat it as its own business model itself.
Fantastic. And one final question. You talked a little bit earlier on about expansion across the 10 offices across the southeast Queensland. What are the plans for the rest of Australia?
That's where our franchising comes in. So we're talking to some people in Victoria at the moment. We're talking to some people in Sydney, and we have somebody in Perth already who's starting up. Where we're going to cut franchising and have franchise areas for people and support them with our model. Our model works. Our hubs are really profitable and they're great businesses. So again, the franchising won't be for someone who just wants to join a name or get, I want the best CRM, because in my opinion, technology, it's all very good, but it's the user behind the technology that makes it work. What we will be offering is a business model and show you how to run your agency as a business rather than just doing the job of real estate, so that you can have, in my opinion, an asset class that grows for yourself, good revenue and good EBITDA, more importantly, so good profit that comes out of it, and a defined exit strategy. So when you want to move on, because we all know real estate's a energy business, right? If you don't have high energy, you're going to die on the vine in real estate. And I see it all the time around the country where people have been really successful agency owners and they just lose mojo. They lose energy over a long period of time. And my real learnings is you've got to get out before you lose the mojo. So giving people an exit strategy is a really important thing for the next generation to come through and let them take it to the next.
So interesting you say that. One of my big things about recruiting is right person at the right time in their life. It can be the right person, but if they're burnt out or they've had enough, it's not going to work for them. Well, that was really insightful, Andrew. Thank you so much for that. And it sounds like you've got a fantastic culture and a fantastic model. And if you're an agent out there that wants work-life balance and the ability to have a really successful business as well, it sounds like they should definitely take a look at your business. What's the best way for them to do that if they wanted to learn more?
No, we've just, if they want to get in touch with me, I'm just andrew@coronis.com.au. Happy to have a chat to anybody. We're just going through a big rebranding at the moment. It came out yesterday, which has added a lot of energy to the business and a freshness to the business, which is great. And I suppose, ultimately it comes down to, our values. And, I suppose I want to say this in a nice way, but if our values are integrity, inclusivity and sustainability. And if people value those things, we're the right people to partner with. But if you don't value those things, I understand that as well. We only want to work with the people that have similar values to us around exactly those. We're very strong on those. And that's our purpose, is to make, if you come to Coronis, your life's got to get better. Not Coronis's life's got to get better. Your life's got to get better because you're with Coronis. And then ultimately, of course, Coronis's life will get better as well.
Fantastic. Sounds great. And thanks again, Andrew. Thanks again for your time.
Cool chat with Andrew, right? I really took from that how he talks about high performance agents are like athletes and a coach. What a cool thing, what a cool analogy, because it makes so much sense when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it's just so, normally in business, you think to yourself, oh, you've got to train and spend time with the ones that aren't performing that well. But if you look at the sporting world, like he's looking at it that way, even Ronaldo in soccer, right, he still gets coached, right? The best athletes still get a coach. So it makes total sense that the best agents should be coached.
It's not just for agency or any industry. Anyone that's a business owner or any should be coached because you just get that little bit extra. It was from all types of professional coaching, as in business like lawyers, accountants, alike, or even seeing a shrink. Not because you got anything wrong with you, but it just helps you with that little bit extra, gives you that clarity.
Should never be complacent in the end. You should always have some ongoing support, training and mentoring. And no matter how successful you are, there's always going to be someone that knows more than you or can give you a different, spiel or element to I guess, taking your career to the next level.
Yeah, and in their model, as you said, it's not all just about sales, right? Maybe you're an amazing listing agent and selling agent, but maybe you could do better at referring to the conveyancers or referring to the mortgage brokers or finding other ways to improve your business. Even do that work-life balance pitch they've got. What are you doing now? You're really successful, but are you working 24 hours a day and it's not sustainable over a 10, 20-year period, right?
Yeah.
So the coaching, of course, has to happen on an ongoing basis, but one thing that really struck me was, they've got these two different, they've got the traditional PM model, and then they've got that different PM model where, the sales agent can refer business into a property manager, and even talking about, again, that work-life balance piece that, they've got property managers who can work from home and build a rent roll. I mean, and they train them and give them all the information they need.
I love that, Bill, because PM's such a tireless, I guess it's not a thankful job. So to have that flexibility for property managers to work from home.
And you've got kids and the like as well. It gives you that great balance.
Also on top of that, Rexy, like what we find a lot of, right? So say if you've got an agency in South Yarra, you only can really hire people that are within sort of 10 kilometres of that office. But this allows you to grow a business with having people work from home that don't necessarily need to be in the radius of where your office is, which I think from a recruitment perspective means they can actually target a larger audience of property managers if they've got that much flexibility to work from home. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's not just even working from home. It's not just saying, hey, you can work from home, go for it, good luck, right? But they actually give them a lot of help and coaching and consulting to make sure that they know how to build a rent roll, to work with the sales agents who then also get a profit share in that rent roll. That's just a great model to, they take their values really seriously, and one of them, that work-life balance piece is important to them, and it's great to see that they talk about that more and more.
I like that a lot, and I guess with all that referral, you're creating a really strong community within that office where you're referring to different aspects of the business. So you know what I mean? That referral from PM to sales. It's not like a traditional real estate office, right? Where you've got your PMs and your sales and they're segregated. It's creating an environment or an office where everyone's working together in unison, which I think a lot of traditional real estate agencies lack in a little bit. Don't you reckon, Rexy?
That's true.
Yeah.
They do. And what I like, what their model is different is the franchisors or the business owners are encouraged not to work on the business or in the business. They're encouraged to work on the business. So they encourage not to be sales agents themselves, but to train and motivate their sales agents.
Because then they're not commission incentivized, right? They're incentivized to grow a team.
And it becomes a business that's not dependent on one person. It becomes a sellable business.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
It's interesting. There's no one model that's right or wrong, right? There's models that fit different people. And if at PropTech Group, we talk to a lot of franchise groups, right? Obviously, and we've got some fantastic franchise groups. So recently, I was talking to Bell Property, and their model is get the best people selling, right? Your best sale, even the business owner, if he was really good at sales, he started a business, well, keep him or her selling, right? So there must be some truth in that as well, but certainly for this model, it'll suit certain people and other models will suit other people. And that's the idea. There's not one model that's going to win out.
True.
Not everyone's going to work for Coronis. Not everyone's going to work for Bell. There's going to be people that are going to suit each model, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key.
And there's an advantage of each model and a disadvantage of each model as well.
Well, absolutely. I think, the work from home model will target, say, working mums and things like that. Other people don't want to work from home. So it's about, I guess, creating an environment that's going to be, a real selling point for a particular kind of person. So it's exciting.
Yeah, and with a lot of people talk about how technology is disrupting a little bit real estate, but even without technology, the model's being disrupted a bit more as well. And you think about people like the agency, even McGrath to some degree, the high street offices, with the sign, with the listings in the window, they're becoming less and less popular now. And Coronis, of course, I think they had 23 offices, he was saying, and then they just opened 10 massive hubs across the southeastern seaboard, and that's working much better for them. They can collaborate better. You don't need a really expensive fit out on the high street in a suburb that you're working to be successful anymore.
If coronavirus has taught us anything, and these lockdowns, is that model can work.
Absolutely. And think of how many costs you'd be saving if you're not having, 20 offices. You've just got central hubs. Like from a financial perspective, I can imagine that would be, a huge a huge difference only having multiple hubs rather than all these different commercial leases that you're going to have to pay for. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, the agency, for instance, they have a model where they centralise the administration and things like that. So if you're a franchisee and you need help with admin, you don't all have to hire an individual person yourself. So that you can get that from the franchise group if you want. So there's different models that work again for different people. But one thing that's really interesting with the Coronis model now is they're dominating Queensland, they're doing great in there. But hey, they're looking nationally, and we know that they're in Perth. They're in Melbourne now.
One of our guests on the show is running Melbourne, aren't they?
He is. We might get him back on.
Yeah, we might have
See how it
to.
goes.
Yeah. I mean, national expansion, you've got to be doing something right if that's the case.
Yeah, look at he was super impressive. It was great to chat to him, and I think that model will do really well across Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth as well. I think he's going to be really successful.
Absolutely, and with the #1 recruiter in Australia assisting them with the growth soon, I mean, they're going to take their business to new heights.
Shameless plug as usual by Chanell. I don't think she's even engaged by him at this
Always
stage.
marketing, right? Always marketing.
Apparently works.
Well, I mean, we've got a lot to talk about, right? And I'm sure a lot of people are going to take a lot from this episode, but I want to just celebrate Christmas. Let's talk about that again, guys. We blinked our eyes. I feel like it was January 3 days ago, and now all of a sudden it's Christmas. We're in 2021.
We're still in 2021.
We're going to be
Coming
in
into
2022 next year. What do you think's going to happen to real estate in 2022?
I think we'll go back to high growths. The market will come back super strong. People will be listing everywhere. It's probably going to see the strongest year if there's no lockdowns, and I'm hoping there won't be. Like majority are vaccinated now, and we should just get on with life.
Hopefully.
We've lost 2 years of our lives.
It's crazy when you think about it. You lost 2 years of your life, right?
For me, in real estate especially, the next 2 years, I think you got to really make hay while the sun shines, right? Like the next 2 years are going to be strong, I think. After that, there's always dips and peaks and troughs in markets, right? So, but I think the next 2 years are going to be great for real estate, especially coming out of lockdown. Hopefully it's like the roaring 30s again, right? And
Ooh, that would be nice.
hopefully there's lots of great business and lots of great parties that we can all enjoy next year.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to end this episode, guys, with a duet.
Ooh.
Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas Is You. Can we get a cue of the song playing?
Do you want me to give you the notes?
I
Like,
don't want
On that
Christmas. There is just All right,
See you
guys, I'm
guys
going to cut
in
it
the
there.
new year.
Merry
See you guys.
Christmas.
Cheers.
Be
Merry
jolly.
Christmas.
Be safe.